Good morning, boys. We are seeing about the lesson Organization of Life. So, in this lesson, what we have seen that is, we have seen about the cell. How the cell is formed through atoms. The atoms are the smallest particles which by chemical reaction what they forms the cell. The cell is the smallest structure by which the living organisms are formed. So, it is microscopic in nature. The cells, what they form? They combine together to form the tissues. The tissues combine together to form the organ. The organs are combined together to form the organ system. So, we have seen about the microscopic organism which are smaller in nature, and then through microscope only we are able to see. And some of the organisms which can be seen through naked eye. So, they are known as macroscopic organism. So, the biological, when we take about the biological organization, it starts with the atoms and then ends with the organ system. So, atoms are the smallest particle which combine together by the chemical reaction. What they form? They form the cell. When we take about the structure of the cell, they are very minute, microscopic, and then it contains all the organelle, mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, etc. So, under organ, what we have seen about the structure of the eye. So, in this lesson today, we are going to see about the organ system, how the organs are combined together to form the organ system. So, if we take stomach, there are many. So, the digestive system, if we take about digestive system, there are many organs combined together. The stomach, the intestine, larger intestine, smaller intestine, everything is there. Then rectum. So, these are all the organs which are combined together to form this digestive system. And then many reproductive system, respiratory system. Then circulatory system, the heart and the other blood vessels. Heart and other blood vessels. What they form? They form circulatory system, respiratory system, lungs, reproductive system, egg and sperm. So, these are all the some of the organ system by which are formed through the organs. So, in this lesson we are going to see about respiratory system. When we take about the respiratory system, what does it comprises? Mainly comprises of the lungs. Respiratory system. So, the lungs, the nose and the other blood vessels, everything are there. Okay. So, we are going to see about the structure of the lungs. Then, nose. If we take about the nose, we inhale air through the nose, isn't it? So, the nostrils are otherwise nose. So, the air we inhale, where does it go? The inner surface of the nose comprises of some mucous membrane, some lining, that is called the cilia, and then it is also occupied by some mucus producing membrane. So, what their main duty is, they trap the dust particles which are entering through the nose, not to go inside the lungs. So, the cilia and the mucous membrane which are lining the nose, what their main duty? They are trapping the dust particles which are entering through the nose and not to go through the lungs. So, their main duty. So, this is about the nostril. Through the nostril, what we are doing? We are inhaling. What is meant by inhaling? We are breathing. We are breathing through the nostril, and then the air from the nostril, the air enters into the lungs. So, this cilia and mucus, what they are doing? They are trapping the dust particle and make them to stick there itself. Okay. Then, the windpipe. Next about the windpipe. First one, nostril or the nose. Next, windpipe. After that, after entering into the nostril, the air goes into the windpipe. The windpipe is nothing but this, the organ which is located near the trachea, near the thorax, the throat. Okay, after passing through the nasal cavity, the air enters into the pharynx. Pharynx otherwise known as windpipe. Then it enters into the another part that is known as larynx. Larynx is nothing but this is the voice box. Larynx is nothing but voice box. What they are doing? They are along with the air. What they are doing? They are small passage and then through which the voice enters. So that is the air, voice box or the larynx. So after that, after the air which enter from the nose, where does it goes? Through the windpipe. It goes through the windpipe and then which is the elastic tube. The windpipe is the elastic tube and then extending to the length of the neck. So it is extending to the length of the up to the neck. And then where does it lead? It leads into the chest cavity. Then about the next it enters into the bronchi. Bronchi are nothing but they are the branched structure. So when we take about the structure of the lungs, so this is the structure of the lungs. So this is the pharynx or the air passage through which the air enters and then it enters into the bronchi. They are the branched structure which enter where they lead into the structure of the lungs. Here there is a structure called sternum and then here it leads into, here the heart is located. So one part of the lung is very smaller because here it is occupied by the heart. Then it leads into the diaphragm which is the dome shaped organ. So this is the structure of the lungs. So what does it comprise? It begins with the nose and then windpipe, then the bronchi or the bronchioles, because they are the branched structure. Bronchi are the branched structure through which the air passes. So they divided into two and then lungs. When we take about the structure of the lungs, it is divided, it is a spongy elastic in nature. It allows the exchange of the gases in them. Okay, they are divided into two. So the thoracic cavity is dorsally. They have thoracic cavity dorsally and then diaphragm ventrally and then at the sides rib cages are there. Rib cages mean like this. These are the rib cages. So this is the rib cage which is found near the lungs. So what the lungs are doing? They are allowing the passage of the air through them and the exchange of gases takes place in them. So this is elastic spongy in nature and then sternum is located above and the diaphragm is located below. Here heart, the structure called heart is there and then it also contains the rib cage. So the exchange of gas, it also contains the bronchi or the bronchiole. This bronchi or bronchiole, what they are ending with a small air passage that is known as alveoli. They are nothing but, they are microscopic in nature. Alveoli are nothing but they are microscopic structure for which they are used mean the exchange of the gases takes place with the help of this alveoli only. Okay, this is about the structure, respiratory structure. So when we take about the respiratory structure, it begins with the nose and then here the windpipe, then bronchiole, then the lungs. The lungs are elastic spongy in nature and then the one side of the one lung is smaller in size because it create the structure for the, it gives the room for the heart. and then it consists of sternum and the diaphragm. Because the sternum and the diaphragm are taking important part during the exchange of the gases. So here how the gas are exchanged in the lungs. So alveoli, they are the branched structure, which they are found at the end of the branched structure, which are microscopic in nature. We can see through only microscope. Okay, it is meant for exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Okay, next about mechanism of breathing, how the breathing happens in the lungs. So, mechanism of breathing. So what we are doing? We are inhaling, we are breathing oxygen. We are breathing oxygen. Where does it grow? That process is called as inspiration or inhalation. The breathing of oxygen is known as the process of taking air into the lungs. So after entering into the nose through the windpipe and trachea, it enters into the lungs. This process is known as inhalation or inspiration. So during this process, what does the sternum is pushed up. Here the sternum is there. Here the sternum is there. It is pushed up and then creating the thoracic cavity, the large volume of thoracic cavity is there, and then pressure is decreased. Then this diaphragm, I said, it is dome shaped, like this dome shaped. What does it become? It becomes flattened in nature. So after the air enters into the lungs, what will happen? The sternum is pushed up. Here this structure is known as sternum. What does it will do? The sternum is pushed up and then the dome shaped structure, the diaphragm is become flattened in nature. So here the pressure become decreased and the cavity of the thoracic cavity, here the place become increased. So the air automatically enters into the lungs. Okay, so during inspiration, what is happening? The air enters. When the air enters inside that, what will happen? The sternum is pushed up and then diaphragm become pulled down. Then the space become increased. Then the pressure here is decreased. So automatically the air moves into the lungs. Here the exchange of gases takes place. What will happen? The air is with oxygen. It enters into the bronchi and then alveoli. Then this is about the inhalation or inspiration. Next, exhalation or expiration. What will happen? When we breathe out, the sternum it goes to the original place. So the pressure become increased and then the dome shaped structure sternum, the flattened sternum become dome shaped. All the parts come to their original position. So automatically the gas which is enter into the lungs will be pulled out. It will come out of the lungs through the blood vessels. So this is the two process, that is inspiration or inhalation, expiration or expiration or exhalation. So these are the two process. We are breathing in the gas, oxygen, the air which goes through the lungs. First what will happen? Through the thoracic cavity it enters and then here the sternum is pushed up and then diaphragm is pulled down. So it create more space there and the pressure become decreased. So automatically the air enters into the lungs. Here the exchange of gases takes place. After, when we breathe out, what will happen? The sternum comes to its original position, diaphragm occupies the dome shape and then the gas which is coming out of the lungs is expelled away from the lungs. So this two process happens during breathing. So expiration and inspiration. So this is about the mechanism of respiration. Okay. Then, so how the exchange of gases takes place in alveoli? So alveoli are nothing but they are the small organ which is found at the end of the bronchi. So what will happen in the alveoli? The gas, oxygen is more in the blood vessel. The oxygen is more in the alveoli than in the blood vessels. Okay, through diffusion, the oxygen enters into the blood cavity, blood capillaries. So the oxygen combines with the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is nothing but the blood. Hemoglobin is the pigment which is present in the blood. So the oxygen combined with the hemoglobin, they form oxyhemoglobin. This oxyhemoglobin enters into the lungs, heart, and to all parts of the, from there it is sent to all parts of the body. So the oxygen which is present in the, so we are breathing air, that air finally enters into alveoli. What does the air contain? It contains oxygen. The alveoli which contains more oxygen is goes into the blood vessels. When the oxygen mixes with the blood vessel, it becomes oxyhemoglobin. Where does it go? It goes into the heart, and then it is pushed to all parts of the body. Thus, the alveoli help for the exchange of the oxygen. Then when we breathe out, the carbon dioxide enters and then it goes into out of the lungs and then it reaches away. So this exchange of gases takes place in the alveoli. So when we take about inhalation, the muscles of diaphragm contract. The muscles here become contract. When we take about exhalation, the diaphragm relax to its original position. So this is relaxed position. Then diaphragm goes downward. Here the diaphragm, when we take inspiration, it goes downward. But in exhalation, it goes upward. The ribs move upward, and here the rib cage, I said about the rib cage. They move upward and downward. Here it moves only downwards in expiration. The volume of the thoracic cavity increases during inspiration, but the volume of the thoracic cavity decreases during expiration. Air enters into from the nose. From the nose, the air enters into the lungs during inspiration. During expiration, the air goes out from the lungs. So this is the difference between inspiration and expiration. Inspiration means the air we breathe in. Expiration means the air we breathe out. What are the air contains the oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide. Okay. Next about homeostasis. Keeping the body in self-regulating and keeping the body normal position is known as homeostasis. So we are said to be warm-blooded animal. Human being is said to be warm-blooded animal. That means we cannot change our body temperature according to the environment. That is known as warm-blooded animals. That is not able to change our body temperature according to the environment. So we are said to be that is warm-blooded. Then the mammals are capable of maintaining constant temperature. If we fail to lead this one, what will happen? Either death or disaster will happen. If we are able to survive with this constant temperature, we can be able to survive. Okay. So this process of integration and coordination function is mediated by nervous tissue and the hormonal system. The liver, kidney, everything, all the organs are helping for the homeostasis. What is meant by homeostasis? Keeping our body in constant temperature. That is known as homeostasis. For this, the best example is during heat, what will happen? Through sweat we are keeping our body cool. Okay, if our body become very warm through sweat we are able to keep our body temperature cool. But if our body feels very heat, what will happen? Through shivering, the heat will be able to be produced. So this is the example. And also control of glucose level. Our body glucose level is maintained with the help of the hormone known as insulin. The insulin helps our body to keep the level of the glucose in constant manner. Okay, if it rises, what will happen? The hormone, glucagon hormone is secreted. So, if the insulin, if the glucose level become higher, this glucagon is secreted to keep the level of the sugar. So, this is thus we are maintaining our body in constant temperature, constant way. This is known as homeostasis, keeping our body in self-regulating and keeping our body according to in constant manner. That is known as homeostasis, keeping our body in constant manner, constantly. We are keeping our body temperature, our body parts itself during this duty. We are not doing anything. Our parts of the body which are present in us, they are able to keep us in homeostasis condition. So, if it is warm, mean what we are doing? We are cooling by sweating. And then if it is cooling, mean if it is by shivering, we are able to keep the temperature, body temperature. Next about the diffusion. I said about diffusion in the mechanism, that is the movement of particles from higher concentration to the lower concentration, higher to lower concentration. The movement of the particles from the higher concentration to the lower concentration is known as diffusion. Diffusion, how we can explain? Through incense. If we lift the incense in our home, what we feel? We feel fragrance throughout the room, isn't it? How the fragrance is coming from the concentrated region, that is from the incense, the concentration region, concentration area, it will spread to equally to all the lower concentrated area. So thus the diffusion is explained, the movement of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. So this is known as diffusion. So if we use perfume, what will happen? The perfume, the smell will spread through the entire room. That is known as the diffusion. And then, as I said, the smoke, if we lift up the incense stick, what will happen? The fragrance will smell. The smell will spread through the entire room. This process is known as diffusion. As I said in process, that is respiratory system, the alveoli contain oxygen. What does it will do? It will mixes. Here the oxygen content is more in alveoli. What does it will do? It will be sent to the blood vessels. The blood vessels, they are not having much concentrated oxygen. So from here, from alveoli, through this process, concentration is higher here. Oxygen concentration is higher here. It moves into the lower region. The blood vessel does not contain more oxygen. Okay, so from here it will moves into the blood. So oxygen content moves into the blood vessels. So this process is known as diffusion. Next about osmosis. Osmosis is nothing but the movement of particles from the same higher concentration to the lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. Through a membrane. Some membrane is there. This is known as osmosis. The movement of the particles move from the higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. Here the solvent means if we mixes something in the, if we mixes some salt in the water, that becomes solvent. So the solvent moves into the region of higher concentration. Here higher concentration, it moves into the region of lower concentration. So what will happen? This also become concentrated. So this is higher concentrated solvent. Okay. For example, if we keep more sugar in the solvent, so this higher concentrated solvent moves to the lower concentration. What will happen? And goes and mixes with them. So this also now become more concentrated. Okay, so the solvent moves to the dilute, moves and dilute. So if it is higher concentration, if it is lower concentration, if it has more sugar, it has less sugar. If it moves with them, moves and mixes along with them, means what will happen? Both of them become equal in concentration. This is known as osmosis. There are three types of osmosis, that is isotonic. So here isotonic mean the concentration of external and internal solution are same. Iso means same. So the concentration, if we keep here the concentration of external, here also if it is water, here mean both of them having the same concentration. This is known as isotonic. Next about hypotonic. Hypo means more. The external concentration is more and then internal concentration is less. Then hypertonic. Here the external solution is greater than the internal solution. So external is more, outer side is more. Here the internal solution is more concentration. So these are the three types of osmosis. Next about osmoregulation. As I said about homeostasis in man, here some of the animal also what they are doing, they are keeping their body temperature according to the environment. So they are keeping their water balance. So the water balance become regulated by them. So that is known as osmoregulation. Like the constant body temperature become equal. Here what they are doing, they are balancing their water capacity. The water balance become equalized. They are keeping their water balance equally according to the environment. Here there are two types of osmoregulation: osmoconformers and osmoregulators. Osmoregulators. So this type of animal are found in salt water. Here they are found in fresh water. Okay. So what are the difference between them mean? Their salt are excreted by the gills. What they are doing? They are excreting the salts through the gills. As there is no salt here, what they are doing? They are absorbing the salt. So they are found in fresh water. So there is no salt here. So what the osmoconformers are doing? They are excreting the salt. Being more salt, what they are doing? They are excreting the extra salt from their body. Here as there is no salt, what they are doing? They are absorbing the salt through the gills. And then here the end, and then the physiological process. Through the physiological process, what they are doing? They are internally and the external environment will be, they are not different, they are different. Okay, their body temperature internally and externally will be different. Here it will be same. So they are, what they are doing? They are able to create the balance between the external and internal environment. And then, so the water is lost by through osmosis, through through the semi-permeable membrane, what they are doing? The water is lost. They will not drink water. So these are the osmoregulation which is found in animals. So what they are doing? They are try to maintain their body temperature and then matches with the environment. This is known as osmoregulation. Next, cellular respiration. So there are two types of cellular respiration, that is aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. What is cellular respiration means? The glucose, the final product, the glucose is converted into ATP or energy molecules. The energy produced by the food produced by the food is produced, and then this is converted into useful energy, that is known as ATP molecule. This energy is trapped by the human beings. So what they are doing means, the glucose is converted into useful energy using oxygen. So through oxygen, these molecules are converted into useful energy. This is known as aerobic respiration. And then through anaerobic respiration, what they are doing? Without the help of oxygen, this energy is converted. So ATP is also produced. Carbon dioxide is the end product. Here also carbon dioxide is end product. But during this process, the energy is, glucose is fully converted into carbon dioxide. But anaerobic respiration, without the help of oxygen, they are doing the partially converted. The glucose is partially converted. So the end product will be ethanol. So this is found in smaller microorganism, bacteria like this. But all the higher organism, what they are doing? They are converting the glucose into useful energy, and carbon dioxide is released during this process. This is about the aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Next, about metabolism. Metabolism is the chemical process by which living organisms sustain their life. Okay, so here there are two processes, that is anabolism and catabolism. Anabolism means the process, two types, that is anabolism and catabolism. Anabolism is the constructive process by which the energy is converted into other form, that is storage of energy during small molecules are changed into larger and more complex tissues are formed, that is carbon, carbohydrate, protein, everything will be released. Okay. So anabolism, that is constructive process. Catabolism is known as destructive process. The energy is converted into useful form. So during the glucose is converted into energy, I said. So during anabolism, what is happening? The energy is converted into useful, breakdown of food into transform of energy. So this food is breakdown into transform of energy. So what they are doing? They are during anabolism, smaller molecules are changes into larger molecule. And then during catabolism, so most of the heat and then almost all the process are done with the help of the catabolism. So in this process, so the most of the energy is released. So what we are doing? We are removing all the energy through the skin. Okay, so the waste product are removed through skin and then kidney, etc. So the food what is produced is changes into useful energy through this catabolism and anabolism process. Catabolism is the process, anabolism is the constructive process which is useful for building and storing. So all the food particles are built up and stored here. What is catabolism? During this process the heat is produced and then we are able to move our muscle, etc. So they are combined together to form the simpler substance. The waste product are released during this catabolism process. So that's all about this lesson. So what we have seen about the cell and then cell tissues together form organ system. So organs are combined together to form the organ system, and then the food which is prepared, glucose, is converted into useful energy. That energy is utilized for our purpose, for our useful energy utilization. For our utilization, this glucose is converted into useful product by anabolism and catabolism. So that's all about this lesson. Thank you, boys.